Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Jay Cluett, and Mark will be here in just a moment. We've got another great show for you this week. I know you're expecting another chapter of Deep Blue Sea 2 this week, but we have another great interview for you. Friend of the show, John Pogue, the director of Deep Blue Sea 3, he got in touch with Tania Raymonde, the star of Deep Blue Sea 3, and, well, we just couldn't wait to talk to them about that great film. So this is an interview with the two of them, with John Pogue and with Tania Raymonde, all about Deep Blue Sea 3. And as with the John Pogue interview, we do go into some spoilers for that film. So if you have not seen Deep Blue Sea 3, you should definitely watch Deep Blue Sea 3 because it is great, and we cannot wait to start talking about it in a few months' time. But I would recommend, or we would recommend, watching the film before listening to this, because we go into some spoilers. We go into some deaths and the end of the film. So there's your warning, but it's a really great show for you today, and John Pogue, he may have dropped some exclusive news just for the listeners of Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. So have to check that out. And the show does end a little abruptly. We didn't give Tania and John a chance to plug anything, so you can follow Tania on Instagram, Tania.Raymonde. We'll have a link to her on the Instagram post to this episode. She does a lot of great artwork over there. And you can find John Pogue there as well at JK Pogue. So I hope you enjoy this great episode with John Pogue and Tania Raymonde. I'm going to throw it back to Mark to do the actual proper intro for this show.
Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Cluett.
And joining us are the star and director of Deep Blue Sea 3. It's Tania Raymonde and John Pogue. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Great to be here.
Welcome to the show.
I'm thrilled to have someone from the Cinematic Shark Punchers Club with us here. So you're part of the elite Cinematic Shark Punchers now. Like, you're probably the latest member, so I think it's pretty cool to have you on here.
Did I take the throne from someone else? Who was my precedent? Who was the previous Shark Puncher?
All right, so let's say there's like an eccentric billionaire who just wants to have like a Mount Rushmore of Cinematic Shark Punchers. I think you'd be on there with Angelina Jolie from Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life.
Oh, yep. That's right.
Remember, she like summons a shark, punches it in the nose, and it gives her a ride to the surface. That's beautiful. And then,
which is what I do with my Uber drivers on the regular.
Wait, what's your rating?
Yeah, I was gonna say
terrible.
They just need the money when they pick you up. Then, jeez Louise, you have to go to Lyft. And then the other one, Zombie 2? I don't know if you heard about this. There's a movie called Zombie 2 where this stuntman dressed up as a zombie, and they put him with a tiger shark. And it's really inhumane, but they filmed it in the 70s. They gave a sedative to a tiger shark, gave it a bunch of food, and then this guy in a zombie outfit wrestled with it. So that's got to be in there.
Exactly like my audition. So weird. Is that where you got the idea?
Is that where you got the idea, John? Oh. Yeah, you don't want to give away your secrets. But that was gnarly.
You're telling me that in the 70s this is for real? They actually did this?
Yeah.
For real? This is not a premise of a film.
Yeah, so Lucio Fulci, he wanted to make a movie called Zombie. And the studio, they wanted to capitalize on Dawn of the Dead, so they called it Zombie 2, even though it was just Zombie. They just put a number on it to tie it in. And then they shot a couple scenes in New York to tie it in. And they were like, well, sharks are hot right now. So the director didn't do it, but the producer went with the crew, and they shot a real tiger shark being wrestled with.
And the stuntman is dressed as who?
Zombie.
As a zombie. I'm writing this down.
Oh, yeah, we're watching this one.
So good.
And the score is legit. It's like that old synth, like, legit score. So I think you'll like that.
It's great.
And I guess the fourth one's Ron Burgundy from Anchorman 2?
Another shark punching.
Yeah, so you'd be up there, like on this eccentric billionaires.
I feel like I'm going to end up on like some kind of banned PETA list on the internet somewhere. This is such violence against animals. I feel.
Well, you said you were sorry.
Yeah.
I said I was sorry. It's true.
It was for the benefit of the rest of the world. I think that's allowed.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think.
The ow part was the best
pretty
bit.
much do anything if you say you're sorry first. I guess that's the moral of our film, right, John?
Absolutely correct.
Is that what you say to your Uber drivers?
I think I should have a better rating on Uber, to be honest. I think I'm
sorry.
too nice.
You're saving the world from bad Uber drivers.
Right.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, that's it right there. I think that's.
So there's only like 3 of us. That's not even. That's barely a club.
Because what? Sherman Dudley, LL Cool J stabs the shark in the first one, right?
In the eye.
It's not a punch. So you can't say you can't say that's a punch.
No, not a punch.
Yeah.
No.
And Statham doesn't even bother kicking a shark in the Meg.
Well, I mean, the shark in the Meg is huge. Punching the Meg's he's not gonna feel it.
Right,
true.
but I would argue that there's more honesty and more bravery involved with punching a shark at close range than it would be like, detonating a shark with a bomb. No matter how big the shark is. Proportionally, it's relative,
Yeah.
Actually, I'm braver than Jason Statham and the situation far more dangerous.
100%. Yeah,
So
you're face to
really, there
face.
shouldn't be any club. It should just
Braver than Statham
very,
Club?
very proud of. I'm holding on to my crown. I'm not going to let it go.
And the owl bit is great, too, when you punch a shark. And just the ow. Like, that really caught me off guard. I liked it. That really sells the punch.
Yeah, just a small ow because nothing hurts really. It's just like a paper cut ow.
I distinctly remember conversations on the set where Tania would go, "Wouldn't this hurt?"
Yeah.
And she had to punch at air, so it was quite great acting, punching at air, and then the whole thing stellar.
No, I love it.
Fun sequence to shoot. I still think about it, John. I loved that. I think that was our last day or my last day or one of the last days.
The last day and a half. Yeah.
And
that was the actual last day.
In the beginning, there was a lot of discussion about it. That was like one of the first scenes that we talked about before we even started shooting that finale. So it was and it was such a pleasurable, it was almost like relaxing to shoot that sequence because it was so self-contained that, there weren't so many question marks. It was I still think about that day. I loved that day. It was so fun.
You had to fight for that, didn't you, John? The I'm sorry.
Yes, that piece of dialogue was a bit of a fight, and the whole sequence was initially looked askance a little bit by some and then embraced finally by others. But, if you can imagine being in this community pool in the suburbs of Cape Town that was divided up into 6 sections, and Tania was essentially sort of lowered into this especially made trash compactor where the walls could all sort of come apart and, having to sort of fight this invisible beast with this container going under and having to hold her breath. I mean, how you got through it, I'm not exactly sure. It was pretty grueling. You're joking about it now, but it was tough, tough to shoot. But fortunately, Tania just is an amazing leader. And she got us through our last day where we were all sort of, hoping that we would get it. And, I think we did.
Well, what was really fun, though, from an actor's point of view, was that no matter how much you have to use your imagination, there's like a adult jungle gym aspect to this movie where no matter whether you're dealing with a green screen or a puppet or looking at marks or trying to imagine, there was still some element that was actually really there. So like in that scene, for example, the compactor, like for shots, at least in the beginning, you had to actually physically go underwater, swim through the length of whatever that compactor thing that was built and come up to surface in the end. So there was aspects to it that felt real always. So as long as you have like 1 or 2 walls to situate yourself, then you can use your imagination, and there was always like a physical aspect too, which is so fun. It's much, these Thor movies and stuff, they stand in front of a green plate holding nothing, and that maybe that's harder, I don't know, but yeah, so that's like the monkey bars jungle gym aspect, which was great for a lot of the scenes that we shot. The action
well put.
Those Cape Town studios look pretty nice. I looked it up on Google. They got a nice setup out there. I dig it. And their diner has a 3.8 rating out of 5 I don't know if you ate there at the Cape Town Film Studios diner. 3.8 out of 5.
That review.
Well, there's 14 of them.
No, that was a really fun studio because there's some remnants of like either previous movies that they had made and props that they hadn't taken down. There was a set next to where we were shooting that Nate, who played Richard, and I would like walk into to do impromptu photo shoots with, of like an abandoned Chinese village for like black sails. There was a huge, like, I don't even know what era, pirate ship that was still standing right next to our set that they had to like digitally remove from a lot of our scenes. John did.
Yeah.
So you could walk into other people's sets that were just kind of like half abandoned and climb through the different structures. It was awesome. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
That's neat. I saw there's a bunch of wineries near it too.
Yeah, John
it's
built
right.
his own winery as part of the contract.
Pogue Farms.
Yeah, open always 24 hours a day. That's weird. I thought.
Please
weird.
don't reveal too much about me. Yeah, it's a cool place, but it's also kind of, there are a lot of contradictions about it. For example, there's right across the highway is Kailisha, which is I think the largest township settlement, informal settlement in that part of South Africa. So, you have incredible poverty, and then there's a highway, and then there's a pirate ship and film studios, so people spending millions of dollars, on pixels next to, Kailisha, which is, it stretches for, miles and miles and miles. I mean, there are millions of people that live there. So it's a very unusual place. And then the third corner of the triangle is Stellenbosch, where the premier wine town. So you have the film studios, the township, and the wine town all in this one little spot. It's a very interesting and sort of tragic and fun and awful place to be all at the same time.
Wow. So, I look forward to getting one of your bottles, though.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. I got to tell y'all real quick, I was watching the movie again, and every time that scene with Shaw where he goes and sacrifices himself, I just want it to go another way. I love that character. That moment hurts, seeing that. I see that goalie net, and I keep hoping the Sharks swim into it. I don't know, but I don't know. I just want to that hurts.
So Tanya, you're one of the few characters who doesn't die in the film. Is there one of the other deaths that you kind of wish you'd got to film?
No.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to get Samuel L. Jackson in this one. You want to be in there for the sequel.
That's true.
Although there is nothing better than a great death scene. I've had a couple good execution death scenes in my career, other roles here and there, but no, I take great pride in making it out alive. I thought Richard has a pretty good end of life. If geez, I can't even get someone to get me a Valentine's Day card. I wish I could have that kind of sacrifice from a male suitor in my personal life, but it's the least somebody could do would be jump into the stomach of a shark for the woman that you love, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a good long-term plan,
Yeah. But
imagine that story years later. He tried to do this act of love, and they just dove into a shark's mouth.
Why did Daddy die? Well, but he was, I have to say that's one of the great joys of these movies too, is the ingenuity in which they can come up with these great death scenes. And I think, if you still think about it, it means the character was done justice. You don't want to just slip on the dock and fall in the water and just disappear.
Yeah, and your character is responsible for this franchise's first human-on-human death. Every death so far has been sharks, and you're the first human character to kill a human in Deep Blue Sea.
And maybe the first headbutt too. That was wonderful.
List, like animal abuse and character homicide.
But a burnt up Bren Foster coming out